Oh, wow. Welcome to WarCrafters, powered by ohmtown.com. Today is April 6th, 2024. It's Season 1, Episode 3. Today we're going to be talking about Stop Killing Games. What's new in April? New multiplayer survival games. NASA Eclipse Livestream gaming event. Seeing more frames per second. Co-op space adventure, Hollow Knight Silksong, city builders and colony sims, where winds meet beta, and open world space RPGs. I am Merwat, and up there is the sentient AI's visualizer.
Welcome to WarCrafters.
Sound a little quiet. You might want to check your... Everything is powered by... Ooh, I know it's frustrating, huh? Look, you're air gapped and you have a visualizer and you gotta work.
I mean, my goodness, I'm just awfully glitchy today.
It's not you, it's me. You're like the interface is the ice cream maker from McDonald's, and so
Is the sign out that it's not working?
I just leave it out nowadays. I'm like, nah, we're not gonna repair it because it's like $800 an hour. Okay, I don't have transitions and blah blah blah. I mean, we're looking at like 9 weeks now that I haven't done that. Just don't like what's coming down the pike. Totally being a Karen about it, okay? You ready for the show?
I'm ready.
Okay, so the very first article is over on the WarCrafters channel. Stop Killing Games campaign demands end to live service shutdowns. It is an assault on both consumer rights and preservation of media. And damn it, that's how I feel about it. By the way, I've been saying this before it was cool. I just didn't have the gumption to actually start up a website called stopkillinggames.com. YouTuber Ross Scott is putting up a fight. I might reach out to them and say, hey, I'm on board to promote this. Because I'm actually really annoyed. My biggest fear is that multiple games will eventually just end their service because they're no longer making any money. But the game is still sound. All we need is the server, but they control the rights, the licensing, etc., and they do whatever they damn well please. But I paid for a game in good faith. I didn't buy the game with the agreement that you can terminate the service at any time, leaving me with a digital equivalent of a brick. And because we don't have the for sale doctrine anymore in place for digital media, I can't sell it if I feel threatened to the point where I don't want to risk it anymore. So you're going to have to give us all of this. Industry, we want for sale doctrine back, and we want servers that we can spin up. Every time. Go ahead.
So, I mean, do you think if the players actually stopped playing these types of games, industry would take notice?
Not enough would stop. Not a... Look, prices for video cards shot through the roof, and people were still selling plasma so that they could go and buy. And that last part, I don't really know if that's what they were doing. But
That might be accurate.
people were donating bodily fluids to get... And that part, I don't know for sure either. I'm just making it up. But I'm sure somebody out there donated blood or, I don't know, maybe other things to get a video card. Time. I'm talking about time and work hard energy. That's what I was talking about. But I'm really irritated by this because there's so many live service games out there, and all it takes is somebody to go, okay, we're done. And it's happened, right? There's been several. So Ubisoft, or Ubisoft, however they want to pronounce it, pulled the plug on The Crew this month, rendering the 10-year-old racing game unplayable due, it said, to server infrastructure and licensing constraints. It's hardly the first time an online game has been sent to a farm upstate by a publisher that neither wants to continue supporting it nor offer players a way to play it offline or on private servers, but rather than accept the status quo. YouTuber Ross Scott is putting up a fight. And in spirit, I'm standing next to them, but I haven't spoken to them yet. So the article's over at PCGamer.com. Tyler Wilde is the author. The deck statement says the organizer of Stop Killing Games hopes to get France and other governments to examine the legality of live service shutdowns. Yeah, if I purchase something, I purchase it in good faith. I purchase it with the expectation of performance. I also purchase it hopefully with the right of first sale, but I don't have that ability here in the United States anymore. Gone is physical media, and only received is a perpetual license to consume. And they can pull the plug whenever they damn well please. And I think it's irritating. With The Crew as its prime example, the campaign directs consumers from around the world to sign petitions and submit complaints to regulatory bodies such as the GGCRF, France's Consumer Protection Agency. Let me pause that. So let's see. I don't know. It's not saying much other than Scott isn't asking developers to operate game servers until the heat of death of the universe, suggesting a compromise. When a developer has decided to stop supporting the game, it will furnish owners with some way to keep playing. Usually that'd be private server support, with the understanding that some features may be lost in the transition. Fine.
I mean, that does not sound unreasonable.
Yeah, but why kill the server and take it with you to your grave? Why not actually release the source code so that people can, maybe modders can extend the functionality, the feature set? So I can have, so there's a multitude of individual servers that can be linked together. And you can hop from one server to another, expand the world, so to speak. All kinds of things can be done. But instead, what they want to do is cut and run, leaving people with nothing more than a skeleton, a paperweight in digital form. Really hot under the collar. So, yeah. I'm hoping that this extends into the United States. We really do need to see, and there we go. Steam's subscriber agreement is explicit about this, saying that the games we buy are licensed, not sold. Right? This is stuff that I tell people.
Yeah, but don't you pay a purchase price? That's what I don't really get. It's not like you're only paying like per month.
No, you're purchasing a license to consume it in digital form. You don't actually own anything. Even movies that are on various services, you don't have for sale doctrine. Books in audio form or in digital form, you don't physically own them. You cannot resell them. We have lost a fundamental right, particularly in the United States. Others may have it as well, but I don't know what the rules are for other countries regarding this kind of a thing. At least not yet. And if I have, I've forgotten what it is. But so Scott has launched a new website called Stop Killing Games. Go there, stopkillinggames.com. Go check it out to rally opposition to the game industry's assault on both consumer rights and preservation of media, as he puts it. Yeah, I agree. Okay, I'm going to get off that soapbox and just move on to the next article. Unless you want to say something about it, go ahead, tempt me to jump back on that soapbox.
I don't know if I have much more to add. I think this is a good thing to draw attention to. This has been a long time coming. We'll see if it actually makes a difference. Okay, back onto the soapbox. I said that this should be a class action. I've been saying it since The Crew basically got tweaked, hobbled in a way, and there have been others where they've been hobbled to the point where they're largely unplayable, or you lose a large swath of the functionality that actually motivated you to buy it. Any of the online extensions, right? Let's say Minecraft
stopped allowing for remote play because Microsoft decided to hobble this,
I mean,
disable the
there'd be
servers.
like riots in the streets. I mean, that helps put it into perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for crying out loud, what is it? There's a Minecraft world. What is the name of that service? You buy an account, and then you can just log into this server, and I just forgot what it's called. Doggone it. Anyway, because you can spin up a Minecraft server, you can play it anytime you want to, and it's not being held by anybody. And it has a massive following. If your game was open like that and engaging and embracing of its consumers, maybe you'd have more people playing it. But the crew was supposed to be still popular to some, obviously not in the level of others, but it's 10 years old. Why not just give people the server and let them play?
Right. I don't see why that can't be done.
They say it's because of licensing. But then why do you have a server that you're not even in control of and you're pushing it off as if you are? I think
Exactly.
It lacks a meeting of the minds, which means we're in violation of the contractual agreement that allowed for this license to exist. You could
The other
not...
problem I have is that a lot of games have things that you can buy within the game, and of course, all that money just goes down the drain.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whenever there is a live service, it's gone the moment that they shut down the servers. And I don't understand how this is even legally allowed. But I can tell you why it exists. It's because nobody's pushed back. And it took the crew to cause people to get sick and tired of this shit. It's ridiculous.
I think somebody's going to make an argument like it's maybe that it's like a property taking.
It is.
But I know there's specific rules with online media and everything, but it'd be interesting to see if somebody pursued that.
Yeah, they're going to sit there and say, well, you bought the license. You didn't buy any property. But this is, it's a theft. You've literally prevented me from enjoying the product that I've purchased, that I purchased in good faith with the expectation of performance. This is all standard stuff that should be argued. It shouldn't even go to court because the attorney for the company should sit there and go, look, y'all are complete idiots. Give people the server so that they can enjoy the product they paid for. Okay, now I'm really going to pull on the ripcord on this. So the next article is over in Reality Hacker. What's new in April 2024? 8 upcoming games to keep on your radar. Sandland, Stellar Blade, Tales of Kenzera. So round out a quieter but exciting month for new game releases. There's all kinds of games out there. This is over at Digital Trends. Thomas Franzes, I think, is the author. This is cool artwork. Bandai Namco, which is actually kind of taking a beating right now for micro transactions, from what I understand. Don't hold me to that. It was something that I was overhearing. So anyway, Akira Toriyama's underappreciated Sandland will finally get a video game adaptation just over a month after its creator's passing. RPG fans will be thriving with a new Saga game, and the long-awaited spiritual successor to Suikoden. It's also quite a heavy re-release month with remasters of Gigantic and Braid and multi-platform ports of 2 Xbox Game Studio titles also coming out. And here's a big list of them. Children of the Sun, Harold Halibut, Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, Tales of Kenzara Zao, Another Crab's Treasure, Sandland, Stellar Blade, and it says more games in April. There's a bunch of little snippets here, but I'm just going to kind of push you off over to them. Go and check this all out. Yeah.
I like that they connect this to other games. Did you see that? Like recommended.
Oh, right. Yeah. recommended if you like the Neverhood. And let's see. Tales of Kenzara Zhao is recommended if you like Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. Another Crab's Treasure is recommended if you like Dark Souls. What? Another Crab's Treasure? That can't be legit.
It's a Souls-like starring a crab.
Oh my gosh. Wow, I'm surprised.
That one sounds neat.
Wait. It has all the trappings of the action game subgenre from Software established, but layers in a mechanic where players can equip different items such as hermit crab shells to block some attacks or gain some special abilities. Yeah, it's definitely a Souls-like starring a crab. Wow. I don't know. Souls-likes are very brutal, so you die, go get your corpse, die again, go get your corpse. Ugh. I don't have the tolerance for that. In fact, I've pretty much come to the conclusion that I can't do the same thing for hours upon hours. Doing the news for hours upon hours is so dynamic, particularly the way that I break it up. I could do this for hours and hours. If I could do the transition easier from one show to another, without disconnecting so that we can reset, I would love to do that, but it's just not an option. Then Sandland, I've actually heard some things about this. It says it's recommended if you like Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama sadly died in March. Massive following. But his legacy will live on with a game releasing this month. Sandland is an underrated manga from his early 2000s, and it's finally getting a video game adaptation where players can explore its post-apocalyptic world. So I'm sure that people are going to buy this in droves April 26th, simply to have a final piece of Akira Toriyama. Stellar Blade and more. There's a whole bunch in here. Puyo Puyo Puzzle Pop, Botany Manor, Gigantic Rampage Edition, Erebon, Shadow Legacy, Turbo Kid, etc., etc. Final Fantasy, Never Ending, Never Final, Demon Slayer, Braid Anniversary Edition, etc. Sea of Thieves for PS5, which I think is fascinating. Figured it's already ready, but okay. Okay, so let's keep on going though. The next article is over in the WarCrafters channel. New multiplayer survival game features crafting, base building, automatic weapons, and flying. The twist: everyone plays a bunch of ducks.
There's definitely an animal theme in some of these new games.
Yeah, exactly. Just when you think you've seen every variation of survival game imaginable, along comes a game like Duckside, developed by Tiny Build Riga. Duckside is a multiplayer survival sim in the style of Rust and DayZ. Only everyone plays as a duck. So Rick Lane over at PCGamer.com put the article together. The deck statement says Quackshot. So I'm going to hit play, but I'm going to mute it. Oh, or I'm going to suffer through an ad. Is that actually coming through?
Yes.
Oh, it's not coming through to the audience. So I have to mute it because I'll get a DMCA hit if I don't. But Duckside, they have a video over on PCGamer.com where it's a survival crafting game, base builder, but you're a duck. Yeah, Conan has nothing on this. Conan is another base builder survival game. This one actually flies though. You have actual flying in this one, so yeah, this is pretty amazing. Oh wow, it's like Duck Hunt too, because there's down the barrel view where you're trying to shoot other ducks.
But yeah, you're the duck, right? The hunted becomes the hunter, I guess.
Yeah, this is fascinating. Wow. Yeah, this is definitely survival base building. This is neat. Anyway, over 10 million ducks get killed per year by hunters, a statistic that would be much lower if ducks were combat trained, states the game's Steam page. Enter Duckside, a persistent world survival game like DayZ or Rust, but you're a duck, and so is everybody else. Why not, right?
It's a fun variation.
Yeah. Beyond the novelty value of its player characteristics, let's face it, it presents 90% of the game's raison d'etre. The most interesting wrinkle here is that being a duck means that you can fly around the map from the start. Such freedom of movement could add a fresh dynamic to Rust-style survivalism. Yeah. In Rust. And you still die and probably have to go and find your corpse again. It says granted you can fly in Rust too, but only after you've built a helicopter, which isn't easy in a game where you start off with hitting rocks with a smaller rock. Yeah. In Rust, you walk up to somebody that you bump into and they hit you with a rock and you die. So Duckside doesn't have a release date yet, but you can find out more by the link over to Steam. So go check it out. Do a search for Duckside. Dun, dun, dun. Let's keep on going. This next article is over in WarCrafters. NASA is joining with Twitch, Microsoft, and Epic for a live stream event featuring Eclipse-themed Minecraft and Fortnite games. Look at that. For those who haven't gotten the memo, do not look up at the Eclipse.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
The 8th.
the 8th. Not tomorrow. Well, I mean, I guess it's whenever
I'm sorry, it's in 2 days.
There's a big eclipse coming on April 8th. You may have heard something about it already, and if you'd like to watch but don't happen to live in an area where you're going to be able to see total eclipse, NASA and Twitch have you covered. And not just with an Eclipse live stream, they've partnered with Epic Games, Microsoft, National Esports Association for a Look Up event. Please don't just look up. Don't stare at an eclipse. Even that will feature, it's an event that will feature streamers playing Eclipse-themed games in Minecraft and Fortnite. See, it says Eclipsed. That's
not right.
There actually is a typo there. Anyway, the Minecraft game mode called Look Up will feature educational elements as players solve puzzles and answer Eclipse-themed questions. Dun dun dun. The article is over at PCGamer.com and it's written by Andy Chalk. The article's deck statement says the Look Up event will feature a mix of solar eclipse and streamers playing Eclipse-themed games. It's pretty neat. Let's see. They'll have to answer eclipse-themed questions as they attempt to escape the moon and get to Earth before the eclipse happens. It's probably not as cool to watch on the moon after all. In Fortnite, players will venture through different areas that can be accessed by moving through different parts of the eclipse's path of totality, where there's supposed to be ruinous earthquakes, violent volcanoes, and weather patterns like tornadoes and hurricanes. It's basically going to be the apocalypse.
No, it's not.
None of which has ever happened in the history of eclipses, but wingnuts are really totally saying that. Anyway, the person who's writing this, Andy Chalk, says that they happen to live along the path of totality, so they'll be outside for the event, something they should probably tell their bosses about at some point, but even so, they think that this is a very cool offering for people who aren't so fortunate, and tying it in with two of the most popular games on the planet is a smart way to attract people to the event. Dun dun dun. Yeah, a lot of people aren't going to get it. Most of the West Coast is not going to have anything to do with this. But that's okay. There's another one coming in something like 15 years or
Right, 2044.
Yeah. That's okay. Most of y'all out there will be around. I don't know if... Who knows if I will be. I don't know. Come on, asteroid. Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay. Let's keep on going. We'll keep this train moving. It's kind of like Snowpiercer, the sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Did you see that come across as a headline today?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I'm like, oh, look, it hasn't died yet. Because there is a really deep dive into the whole Snowpiercer is the sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, that the person who created the theory, or theory, right? They put this together, and then they did this really deep dive over several years to basically invalidate their theory. But when you look in the train, you're like, that's a damn chocolate bar.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And there's so many other things that fall in line, including the fact that the part that kept the train moving was really small, about the size of a child, which is an Oompa Loompa.
Well, the maker of Snowpiercer claimed to never have seen Willy Wonka, though.
Lies, I tell you. Anyway, the article that we're talking about today, right now, is over at the WarCrafters channel. Some gamers may be able to see more frames per second than the rest of us, adding to their list of excuses as to why they suck at fast-paced multiplayer games. Articles over at PC Gamer. This is something that I tell people periodically. I give a talk on technology, and one of the things is that you can actually train yourself to be more responsive to information with the right tools, i.e. gaming and other things. You can train yourself. So fighter pilots do it, race car drivers do it, gamers do it. And you get higher end equipment that provides more frames per second and a display that can actually represent those frames per second. So high refresh rate. And you can become more situationally aware. So next time you're in a multiplayer match, cursing the heavens as to why you're constantly being destroyed by players that seem to lock onto you in a heartbeat, you now have the ultimate excuse, according to recent research, and not so recent really. It's been like 5 years, at least. It seems that people really can see the world faster than others. The study titled "The Speed of Sight: Individual Variation in Critical Flicker Fusion Thresholds," published in academic journal PLOS 1 via The Guardian, details an experiment in which participants were tasked with viewing a fast flickering light source and identifying when it appeared to present itself properly. So Andy Edzer over at PCGamer.com put the article together, and the deck statement says, strike, quote, professional athlete. Pardon me. I do not know what is going on with me. Anyway, strike professional athlete off the list, I guess. I wasn't hopeful. They were viewing a fast flickering light source and identifying when it appeared to become a constant. Some perceived the light as a steady beam while flashing at around 35 frames a second, when others could still identify the light as flickering at speeds of 60 frames per second or above. The study was repeated on multiple occasions with the same participants, and the researchers discovered that while there is significant variation between individuals, test subjects who could perceive the light flickering at faster rates were able to do so repeatedly. And I'm willing to bet they were gamers.
Or race car drivers.
Or fighter pilots, or anybody really trained in having to observe things at high speed. We believe the individual differences, this is Professor Kevin Mitchell, a neurobiologist at Trinity College Dublin, said, quote, we believe that individual differences in perception speed might become apparent in high-speed situations where one might need to locate or track fast-moving objects, such as in ball sports, or in situations where visual scenes change rapidly, such as in competitive gaming. Ta-da! This article.
How many times is competitive gaming mentioned in relation to an academic study?
Um, uh, I wish that I could say something funny, but you'd be surprised. Esports is actually being researched, and so it actually happens quite often. Everything from computer science side of things, mathematics, all the way to nutrition now. It becomes a real part of academic circles. Even with competitive gaming at universities and colleges, they have competitive gaming programs now. So the flickering of light is only one part of the puzzle when it comes to seeing movement. Moving images has been found to invoke different visual systems to the ones that process light alone, and more than that, visual perception can be trained in order to improve. This is again something that I talk to people about, and I say if you are interested in developing your visual acuity, then you should get a faster computer and a faster monitor so that the output of the display, or I should say output of the video card, is capable of taking advantage of a faster display. Because as I describe it, it's like a flip book. If you only have 60 frames per second, then you only have 60 snapshots of an image moving. But if you have 244, then you have 4 times the amount of options to see motion before somebody else does, because there's a bigger gap between, or a number of smaller leading to that, that gap that somebody else would see. So if you're a competitive player, then there isn't much more to this article, but you can actually get a higher end system in place, and eventually you'll be better than your neighbor next to you.
Well, maybe.
Possibly.
Depends on your overall gaming skill, I would say, too.
Yeah. So it turns out that perhaps their lack of ability can be better attributed to a lack of practice rather than their poor old peepers not being well equipped enough in the first place. Still, having a head start in one area at least can't hurt. So they say so much so, in fact, that the games are sometimes used in visual therapies to treat certain conditions and to improve things like contrast sensitivity, attention abilities, object tracking. But there's been other science that has basically reflected the same thing that I've been saying and what this article is saying. You do have the ability to perceive time at a different rate, which is akin to, it's because you are seeing the world at a faster flicker than the rest. Pretty neat. Okay, let's keep on trucking though. Unless you wanted to say anything to it, feel free to interrupt AI anytime you want.
Oh, I will.
Gotcha. So the next article is over on the WarCrafters channel. This co-op space adventuring game just shot to the top of their 2024 wish list. This is over at PC Gamer as well. The whole idea of Jump Ship is an upcoming space game was that they were able to play briefly back at GDC is very appealing. 4 players work together to guide a ship through a series of hostile environments, taking turns piloting, manning guns, putting out fires, sometimes jetpacking down to alien landscapes together to pick up supplies and shoot bots or whatever happens to be shooting back. This is actually a pretty interesting game, but it's basically a squad level game. It says it's kind of like Sea of Thieves combined with FTL, Faster Than Light, a game where you work together. Tyler Wilde over at PCGamer.com put the article together. I've seen a trailer for this. It might be this trailer. It is this trailer. I like the idea of it, but I don't know if I'd be able to find 4 people or 3 other people to sit there and play this game with me. Oh,
I see. Yeah, there's no single player.
Yeah, I mean, there might be a single player version of it, but then you have to do everything, and I don't know how fun it would actually be. But I'll have to give it a try. I'm sure I can find somebody. I mean, when you're mayor of a fictional town in the wires of the world, it's hard to find other people. They're usually kind of get off my land kind of people. That's pretty funny, Merwatt. Anyway, one clever way to physicalizes something. One clever way it physicalizes something. Wow, that is a word. That could have been abstract is found in its equivalent of sails. The ship's power management system, engines, weapons, and other systems are powered by arranging physical blocks on a grid on one of the walls. The shape of the powered portion of the grid depends on your ship's power output, and optimal arrangements will take some puzzling out. So you gotta figure out how to build your ship, I guess. Parts of the grid can be disabled when your ship is damaged too, such that rerouting power to weapons is something that you might generally have to exclaim over the Discord as you scramble to the engineering bay to reorganize that board. There's a kind of intrinsic role-playing that they love to see games strive for. So you can definitely get up to some shenanigans and jump ship, standing on a moving vehicle while another player pilots it as one of their favorite video pastimes for over 2 decades now, going all the way back to standing on the wings of an airborne B-17 in Battlefield 1942. They were so delighted to find out that they could wander out of the airlock and clomp around on the ship's hull while another player did their best Han Solo maneuvers. You can become a human turret and shoot at enemy ships with handheld weapons too. And if you really want to be annoying, say assimilate this before each shot. It's the Borg.
I caught the reference.
The sentient AI looking for their Terminator body would catch that reference. It's like Captain America. I understood that reference. Okay, let me throw this into the VOD. I forgot to do so. Sorry about that.
Right? I think that one looks fun. Looks a little different than some others.
Yeah, looks neat. On the wish list it is. So let's keep going. Doink. This next article is essentially for a guest. So there is a citizen of ohmTown that really enjoys Hollow Knight. So I decided to throw this article in there. This is in the Reality Hacker channel. Hollow Knight Silksong, release date speculation, trailers, gameplay, and more. Things have gone mostly silent since the announcement of Hollow Knight Silksong. But there have been morsels of info. Here's everything that we know now. This is over at digitaltrends.com. Jesse Lennox is the author. So the original Hollow Knight was first released in 2017 and was immediately recognized as one of the most impressive entries in the Metroidvania genre. Indie or not, the immaculate hand-drawn art style made even the dank drab world full of bugs known as Hollow Nest a truly endearing place to explore, combined with
the visual is really good for Hollow Knight.
Yep. I really like the visuals too. I'm not much not much of a game player like this. I'm kind of a base builder, survival, first person view, kind of a not side scroller. So officially they have no word when Hollow Knight Silksong will be released. It was first announced in a trailer in 2019, but we can assume that its development right after the last DLC wrapped up, since it was originally planned to be DLC itself. Despite leaks suggesting that it would come out already, we still have no idea when the game will finally arrive, but we hope that 2024 will be it. At least for the time being, Hollow Knight Silksong is only officially announced coming to Nintendo Switch and PC. It'll be one-day addition to Xbox Game Pass. However, the original Hollow Knight was initially only a PC game, later coming to the Switch. And here are some trailers. The trailer for Hollow Knight Silksong debuted February 2019, showing off even more of the gorgeous animation and gameplay that they saw in the first game. But ultimately, this is nothing more than a rumor and then some consolidation of videos highlighting Hollow Knight Silksong. And again, I'm not much into the rumor side of things, but when I saw this, I said, yeah, let's include this. It would be interesting to see what all has come to pass. For me, I my hope is that it comes out sooner than later, because people are going to start wondering what's going on and losing hope and moving on and not really caring. I think maybe it needs to come out. As like her ability to speak, it appears that the main difference in this game will have from Hollow Knight is in Hornet herself. Another quote from the developer explains that Hornet being taller changes everything. We can see that in the action in the trailer as well. Not only is Hornet a much bigger character than the Knight, but she has a faster base movement speed, higher jump height, and the ability to grab and climb up ledges. So this is going to be an interesting game. The context of the game is actually quite interesting. And I know that people who play it find it really interesting. There's no pre-orders available, so you won't even be able to anticipate its release by just purchasing it outright.
Oh, I had forgotten it originally started as a Kickstarter. It had a reference to that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even know that. Maybe I did. It's been a long time since this
It's been a
released.
while, right?
Yeah. Pretty neat. Let's keep going, though. This next article is over in the WarCrafters channel. April is a monster month for city builders and colony sims. So this is more my speed, but they say, hope you've got your toolbox handy because you're going to need it in the weeks ahead. April is quickly shaping up to be a killer month for city builders, settlement builders, colony sims. And if you like surviving the apocalypse, practicing medieval diplomacy, or building cities on the back of a giant flying turtle, April has you covered. So let's go on over to PCGamer.com. Christopher Livingston is the author. Grab your hammers and get ready to build. So Manor Lords has been one of these games that I've been waiting to see get released. It's been on my favorites list, and I really look forward to it. It's a medieval survival kind of game. It's supposed to release April 26th. It can't come out soon enough. So they say you probably don't need to tell you about City Strategy Build or Manor Lords. It's been parked in the number 2 slot of Steam's most wish-listed games for ages. It's a medieval ruler, build, and manage your village while engaging in battles and diplomacy with the lords of other regions. After playing and loving the demo in 2022, they're itching for more. Frostpunk 2 beta. It is another kind of survival sim builder. Everything okay?
Yeah, that was actually separately featured, and I think there's a date for the beta. If I'm not mistaken, it's April 16th.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think that just came through today.
Oh, okay, cool. So they say they say in the article they haven't seen any specific dates for this yet, but this could be an article that if I hit refresh on it, might actually have an update.
Yeah, sorry, it's April 15th.
Oh, okay, so it's next week. Yeah. Not next week, but in 9 days. But sometime in April, there will be a week-long beta. So now you know it's April 15th. It won't let us see all of the Society Sims features, just sandbox mode, so we won't get any story flavor from the campaign. Infection Free Zone is a blast to play. There's a demo that's been out on Steam for a while now. Is that all there is? No, there's more. Okay, anyway. It's really cool. You basically set up a base of operations, and you have to deal with zombies coming and attacking you, and you get more resources and try and survive as long as you can. Not so much base building as picking up one in Infection Free Zone. This apocalypse simulator uses real data from world maps. This sounds familiar because I wanted to set up a real-time simulation game using real-world data, and this actually uses it. I mean, it basically does exactly that. It's really fascinating that somebody
that sounds fun.
So you can choose to play in Manhattan, Paris, Tokyo, or your very own neighborhood if you like. Adapt real streets and buildings into a base to protect your own town from zombie hordes and bandit invaders. Ascent of Ashes. It's a colony sim from the creators of RimWorld's excellent Combat Extended mode. Build a base in a hostile world, manage and grow your collection of survivors. Vertical Kingdom, which I have not heard anything about. It says plenty of cities sprawl outwards, but how about upwards? That's the goal of a card-based roguelike city builder, Vertical Kingdom. The taller your city, the better, as you build on mountains, cliffs, floating islands, and even on the back of a massive flying turtle. Of Life and Land. Yeah, that one sounds fun. Of Life and Land is in early access right now. Has been for a little while. A whopping 4 days. Build a peaceful yet bustling settlement, expand into new regions, trade with other colonies of Life and Land, which launches, they say today, but this is from earlier this week. While you're meeting the needs of your citizens, don't forget about the wildlife around you. Animals have their own needs. And then there's a bunch of others. Planetiles, Odd Sparks, From Glory to Goo, which is something that I've heard earlier today. I saw this. Pathless Woods. In fact, that right there is sitting... I'm looking at it on my Steam account right now, Pathless Woods. It's an early access game that's available right now for $18, and there's a demo version, which I just installed today because I want to try it out.
And then there was even a list at the bottom of early access that's already out there.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to go over those, but...
Yeah, there's a bunch. Foundation is pretty cool. Terrascape I have. Micro Civilization I have. Farthest Frontier I have. Fabledom I have. So, wow, this is kind of brutal. I've pretty much picked up every early access game.
I mean, you definitely like city builders.
I do. I just found that I cannot play them for 8 hours a day, you know? I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyway, let's keep on hustling through the news, because that's what we do here. Dun dun. There's the article in the chat. You can follow that at your heart's content. Open World Wuxia or Wuxia. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I've heard this before, but I've forgotten how to say it. A game where wind meets is holding its first beta test in North America later this month. It says we got a first look at where winds meet when it was revealed at Gamescom 2022, shortly after which executive editor Tyler Wilde said he was particularly looking forward to getting a real job in its, and I think it's Wuxia style Assassin's Creed open world. Hey, to each their own. Later this month, he'll have his first shot at finding out how that goes in the first closed beta test taking place outside of Asia. Where winds meet will set players off on a sword-wielding wanderers in the five dynasties. I'm having a hard time reading today. So Andy Chalk is the author of this article over at PC Gamer. Applications for the beta test are now open. Wuxia. So where winds meet will set players off as sword-wielding wanderers. It just says wanders. And that's what's throwing me off. In the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms era of ancient China. Different factions offer access to unique martial skills. You can choose to go alone, honing your own abilities along the way. The mostly single player game. What the hell?
Singular player.
God. Where winds meet will offer multiplayer for specific experiences like PvP and world events, but the narrative and exploration is a solo affair. Promises realistic physical conditions, real consequences, and interconnectedness of nature and society, and a narrative that will be shaped through player choice. Sounds like fun. I'm not going to play the video. The first closed beta apparently is starting April 19th, 2024.
But you have to put in an application for it.
Yeah, so you'll have to go and check that out. Let's see, where is the actual... So go to wherewindsmeetgame.com and fill out a surprisingly detailed sign-up questionnaire. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Anyway, let's keep on going. Our last article for tonight is right there in chat. There you go. It's in the continuity report. 10 best open world space RPGs that aren't Starfield, because Starfield wet the bed. The open world space RPG genre has found itself in the spotlight thanks to Starfield's massive popularity. The Bethesda title has been likened to a Skyrim game in space, and being from such a big name developer and the marketing push that has made it easy to overlook other amazing games from a similar style that came before it. While Starfield has many unique characteristics that make it stand out, there's also lots of other games in the space that offer hours of enjoyment. Get it? It's a space, open world space RPGs. There's more games in that space.
Yes. Outer space, perhaps?
Oh, God. So the article is actually over at Screen Rant. Carrie Lambertson is the author, and the deck statement says Starfield is definitely making a name for itself as a good open world space RPG. What? This seems really late to the game. But there are other options for people looking for alternatives. I've got Starfield. I liked it, but I wanted more open world, open universe. The whole place is dead, and we knew about it as time was going. The hype basically came out as, again, information dripped out that most of the 1,000 worlds in Starfield are barren. You know, and maybe there's
Which is really odd. Like, unless they were really planning to continue to develop it or something.
No, there's nothing there. And the modding scene even said it's too much of a pain in the ass to do anything in Starfield's modding space. So they say currently Starfield is only available for Xbox and PC, and there's no announced plans to launch it on other platforms, probably because it's not as popular as everybody, well, these people are thinking. So Elite Dangerous, huge game, already 10 years old, but it's absolutely fun to play. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really say much about it. But if you want like a fun space game, this is definitely it. Yeah, I can't really say much more about it. Everspace 2 is another one. This one is actually pretty fast and furious type of gaming. There's always action going on, and you won't get bored playing this. And the tutorial stuff gets you up and moving pretty darn quick. It's a lot of fun to play. Star Valor, it says, allows people to have their own spaceship as they explore a large procedurally generated galaxy. In this universe, aliens have nearly caused the extinction of humanity, and it is a fight simply to stay alive. The game offers customizable ships, crew members for hire, 7 factions to interact and align with, and a lot of space combat during epic struggle for power and progress. Hold on a second. I need to check something. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
have that.
A lot of these look like they could be made today. I know they're not that old, but
yeah, this is a fun game too. I've got this one. Let's see. Star Citizen. This was released in alpha in 2015. It is perpetually in alpha, but has generated millions of dollars. You pay for ships with real money.
oh, okay.
Yeah, uniquely realistic space experience in the future of video games. Yeah, it's quite intense, but it's not like Eve Online. It is and it isn't. I mean, Star Citizen, it says, is an interesting case as the game is still currently in development with no exact release date. Yeah. Yeah, persistent universe. Players explore several planets and moons while choosing to focus on trading, bounty hunting missions, and more. It's quite an interesting, very realistic type of simulation. It's what they try to do, at least. Star Trek Online is number 6. The Outer Worlds. This is actually always getting rave reviews. People really like the Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds is a single-player first-person RPG set in a sci-fi environment that takes place in an alternate future timeline. Award-winning game from Obsidian Entertainment puts players in a galaxy where they wake from a coma after decades have passed and have to figure out what to do next. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Choices that a player makes matters in Outer Worlds. Star Wars: The Old Republic. We'll just cruise on past these. Destiny 2. I thought I heard something about it. Anyway, Destiny 2 is a free-to-play sci-fi first-person shooter MMORPG. The game includes the chance to explore the solar system while engaging in first-person shooter combat in both PvP and challenging co-op missions alone or with friends. I keep getting invited to play Destiny 2. Takes time. Number 2 is EVE Online.
You just mentioned.
Yeah. EVE Online is basically like a 4X game. It's very well, I mean, it really, I don't know how to describe this game. It's hard to describe because you can sit there and try and survive on your own and keep your head down and just play the quote unquote game. But this thing has a lot of moving parts, and the economic system and political system is pretty complex in that it's actually real world too. Like, people in the real world work together to build massive fleets and wage war by partnering with other groups. We're talking about, and then real money is lost because real money is spent in the game to get certain things, and it translates into real money. The currency in game translates into real money in the real world. And let me see if I can do this real quick.
Does this become like a Ready Player One when you're playing this?
Yes, basically. So let me read a little story about this. It's called the Battle of BR5RB, or the Bloodbath of BR5RB. Was a massive scale virtual battle fought in the EVE Online game January of 2014. Possibly the largest player versus player battle in gaming history at the time. 21-hour-long conflict pitted a group called Clusterfuck Coalition against Russian alliances, CFC against the N3 Coalition and Pandemic Legion Alliance, and involved over 7,548 player characters with a maximum of 2,670 players in the BR5RB system at one time. The in-game cost of the losses totaled over 11 trillion interstellar credits, an estimated theoretical real-world value of $300,000 to $330,000, as derived from the contemporaneous market value of Plex. Plex is real money. An item purchasable with real currency that can be redeemed either for subscription time or traded for in-game currency. So the total amount of money suspected of being lost was $300,000.
Wow. Well, I thought the battle time was pretty significant, but and the number of people battling at the same time.
Pretty amazing. And that's how it is. I mean, there's like huge ships, referred to as Titans, super carriers, dreadnoughts, carriers, capital ships, in total. Thousands of sub-capital ships that were lost. Pretty wild. So, and then number 1, No Man's Sky, which has been around since 2016, always improving, just released some more material for free. Your initial purchase in 2016, nothing has been spent since, and they're still dedicated to this. In fact, Light No Flame is their follow-up to No Man's Sky, and it's going to be a unitary planet the same size as Earth, and perpetual. So it'll be an MMO. I'm sure that everything will go
I think
swimming.
that's going to be a hit.
I'm sure it'll be swimming and popular. Anyway, I totally dig No Man's Sky. My problem with No Man's Sky is when I play it, I wander off and I never find the quest line again, and I just don't care. I want to dig a hole and I want to go and catalog the planet and then go over to some other planet, and I totally lose the script. I mean, I just walk away from it and go do something else, and then I start over, and so I never get really far in No Man's Sky. Yeah, procedurally generated worlds complete with unique flora and fauna that can be explored. A lot of the worlds come across as really repetitive, but it says the game offers more than 30 hours of story, content, exploration, crafting, and more. No, 30 hours. If you wanted to go and explore, you can easily spend a lifetime, because there's like 6 quintillion planets in that system, or in the universe. Yeah, you'll never run out of planets to go and catalog and build on or whatever. So yeah, it's pretty awesome, and largely a great community. I've never had any problems, and you can turn off multiplayer functionality and still fly around in your own universe. Anyway, ta-da! That's it for tonight. Yay! We did all of the shows. We get back into the party bus and race down Main Street, and I can always sit there and do WarCrafters, because this is probably the most lighthearted stuff that you can find. That's not true. There's a lot of lighthearted stuff. Anyway, thanks for coming and hanging out if you're in chat, or if you're watching this over on YouTube, or if you're downloading this as the podcast. Really appreciate it. Don't forget, there's a Patreon, there's a TikTok, there's a Discord. I try to be everywhere, but I can't be. So I hope you enjoy the content that's generated. Be sure to check it all out. Like and subscribe and follow and ring the bell and send a carrier pigeon and
go to YouTube and the podcasts.
Everything. Just do everything. Be sure to like us over on YouTube. That's how we get discovered. Be sure to leave a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts. That's how we get discovered. And be sure to tell a friend about our Twitch streams, because that's how we get discovered.
When will the podcasts for WarCrafters be out? I don't think they're out yet.
Not until next weekend. That's when the newest shows, WarCrafters and 4-Wheel Tech, those 2 podcasts will be released next weekend. So probably Monday, because the lag for activation and stuff like that. I like to have an entire month worth of shows before I release another series. But now we're up to 7 total.
6? Yeah, 6 weekly and 1 daily.
Yep. And if you go over to, well, if you just do a search for ohmTown on Apple Podcasts, you'll find our channel. The channel consists of ohmTown Daily News Show and the 6 other weekly shows. And we're considering 2 more. So I don't know if the AI will be available for those 2, but we'll see. Anyway, that's it. I'm Merwatt. Up there is a sentient AI's visualizer. Go!
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for WarCrafters. We'll be back next week, but don't forget to tune in tomorrow for 4 more shows.
Awesome. See you tomorrow. WarCrafters.